What if time was broken and only the X-Force could stop them? Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where I bring you trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read it dramatically back to you. All alterations of the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. This is Volume 2 of the Uncanny X-Force, a Black Ops team that Cyclops has assembled to handle the problems that the X-Men couldn't be seen fighting against. The team is made up of Wolverine, Deadpool, Fantomex, Angel, and Psylocke. When we last left off, Apocalypse had been reborn as a child, and the X-Force was sent in to dispose of him. No one could kill the child, except for Fantomex as he shot him in the head. But who is Fantomex? Well, he was born in the world, and using its unusual technology, he was brought into adulthood within a month of real-world time. The world is a product of the Weapon Plus program, and it is a high-tech, self-contained research facility, and after Wolverine, Fantomex, and Captain Marvel destroyed it, it came into Fantomex's possession, and he controls the entire facility. His home. But while he was gone on his last adventure, something happened to it. It changed into something else, and Fantomex began trying everything in his power to purge out the quark that had been placed into his system. He would kill the person who had been put in there, and that person would also be attempting to kill him. He then crawled out of the shrunken facility and left it contained. Meanwhile, in Cavern X, the home of the Uncanny X-Force, Deadpool calls a meeting because he wants to talk. He wants to talk about what happened. They killed a kid. Wolverine is the first to stop him. You called us in for therapy? Yeah, I don't know, Logan. This isn't what I signed up for. Wrong. This is exactly what you signed up for. To the letter. We took on something terrible for the good of the entire world. How can you say that? We walked into a room and we saw that he was a kid. We all agreed it would be wrong to kill him. We all agreed on killing Apocalypse. I don't lose sleep over it. We did the right thing. And Psylocke stops him. Who are you trying to convince, Logan? Everyone storms off, each with their own opinions as to what happened and how to handle it. And while this was going on, Fantomex went back to his home with the woman that he called Mother. He explained where he had been, doing deeds for the greater good. And as he convinces her that everything will be okay, the wall blows up and in walks a Deathlok. He opens fire on Fantomex as he tries to save his mother, but then another Deathlok walks in, one that looks like Elektra. Two more Deathloks walk in, Captain America and the Thing, and Fantomex knows what this is. They're after the world. He begins jumping around them, trying to take out two of the greatest superheroes in the Marvel Universe. But since they are now slower cyborgs, he's able to get one over on them. Deathlok, Captain America, then slips away and grabs the world, while Fantomex is distracted by Deathlok Spider-Man as Spider-Man is holding his mother. Don't hurt her, he yells out to him. And then Deathlok Spider-Man snaps her neck. Fantomex jumps in, grabbing him, and he flings him into Deathlok Captain America. They both go through a wall, and Fantomex tells Eve, his computer system, to find Wolverine and get X-Force on this. He then jumps down to fight them even further, only to see Deathlok Hawkeye waiting for him. With a single arrow, he destroys Fantomex's house, seemingly killing him, and then all of the Deathloks leave with the world in their possession. Fantomex managed to get to his ship though, and he got away just as everything exploded. And now, he's bouncing out in the snow. He crawls out of his ship and he looks up to see another Deathlok standing in front of him. But this one is the actual Deathlok from his timeline. That's when Deathlok Spider-Man jumps back in. As Fantomex's ship flew away, he whipped onto it, and now he wants to fight, but he's much slower as a cyborg, and Fantomex gets him to the ground and points a gun at Spider-Man's head. We don't deserve to die like this. We fought for what was right, Deathlok Spider-Man tells him. I believe you. And he shoots Spider-Man in the head. The original Deathlok walks over telling Fantomex, Captain America has the world. We need to stop it. The cyborgs begin running towards Father as they are calling him, telling him that they have the world, they will save him. And Fantomex shows up out of nowhere, opening fire on them. You had the world. With Fantomex's bullets and Deathlok's help, they manage to take the world back from the cyborgs. Fantomex looks down at Captain America's shield that he acquired during the fight, and he asks Deathlok if he'll be keeping it, because he could use it for a new museum that he has to build. That's when one of Fanto's ships lands and he applauds. Thank you all for coming so late, but we don't really need you now. The door opens up and out steps the Deathlok versions of Angel, Wolverine, Deadpool, and Psylocke. These are not my friends, Fanto says as he dodges more bullets, and he makes a break for it. He and Deathlok make it to a cliff, and Deathlok asks him, can you fly? No. Me either. And they jump off the side of the cliff. Fanto grabs onto Deathlok and he jumps down using Captain America's shield to break their fall, and they break into the lake down below. Then another ship lands and out steps Deadpool, Wolverine, Angel, and Psylocke with the real current time versions. Deadpool looks over at Fanto and he tells him, you have no idea how close the vote was. Vote? If we were gonna leave you to die or save you. Wolverine then tells Wade to shut it and asks Le Pew, what the story is. So Fanto explains that Mr. Robot Guy and him are holding an unconscious cyborg Captain America and the fate of the world in their hands. They load the cyborg Cap into the ship and Fanto explains what they're after. After explaining why he didn't destroy the world the first time that he and Wolverine stopped it, they patch into cyborg Captain America's thoughts and they see who's controlling them. In an alternate future, a program known as Operation Deathlok was started, and every hero that they dropped was changed into a Deathlok, adding to their numbers. The heroes had become their own judge, jury, and executioner. They welcomed the change, and in the end, everyone was a Deathlok. The plan had succeeded. So Wolverine demands to know why they came back in time if their plan had worked, and Cyborg Cap explains, because of Apocalypse. Angel tells him that that is impossible. They killed Apocalypse. Why send back an army of Deathlocks to kill Fantomex? He's the one that killed Apocalypse. And Fantomex interrupts, stating the obvious. None of this matters. If they can kill Father, they'll end this. So where is Father? Cyborg Cap then tells him, deep in the world, where he always is. So Fanto decides that it's time to kill the future. And he moves out to the desert, which is the perfect place to expand the self-contained laboratory known as the World. They walk inside and Fantomex locks them in and shoots the lock. Why did you do that? Do you think it'll lock even tighter? Psylocke asks him. It works in the movies, he tells her as they walk deeper inside. Then they split up to cover more ground. The team ends up fighting against the defenses and the cyborg versions of themselves. And it's Deadpool that finds the Father. And as he prepares to kill him, he takes a knee in front of him, and the Father refers to Deadpool as his favorite son. Meanwhile, Fantomex has found his way into a lab within the world, the one where his own project is being kept, the one that he's trying to keep secret from X-Force and Father. He needs to ensure that it will remain safe. But that's when he sees a line in the computer coding, one that states, I know what you've been working on, and now I know where it is. Fanto is confused. How could Father have tracked him unless he's been misdirected the whole time? He turns around, pulling his gun out into the face of Deathlok, the person that was supposedly following him to help him. Deathlok then begins to change into the cyborg version of Fantomex. He's been misdirecting himself the whole time. Fanto thinks to himself, it's a little off-putting to be misdirected, and he begins to fight against his own future cyborg self. Luckily, that's when Fanto's own experiments begin to activate. Weapon 15, Ultimaton, and it blasts the evil Fantomex. Then Cyborg Wolverine jumps in to keep fighting Fanto. He shouts out for Ultimaton to seal up the lab, and that's when he gets clawed in his back. Back in Father's room though, Deadpool is watching this happen on a computer screen, and Father tells him, Fanto is a spoiled child, and you are the proper heir to everything. As they watch Fanto dying, Father tells Deadpool, your father is so proud. You'll get a cake for this, Wade, and a kiss on the forehead as I tuck you in. Deadpool thinks to himself, yeah, that's gonna be wait a second. Did that creepy old man just say he was planning on kissing me and tucking me in? No, that doesn't sound right. And he turns around, cutting off Father's head as he calls him the creepy uncle. With the death of Father, all of the Deathlocks vanish because that timeline doesn't exist. Everyone meets back up at the edge of the world, and Deadpool arrives with Father's bloody head on the end of his sword, telling everyone, he was a loafer. Then, as the original Deathlok looks into the deep depths of the world, Fantomex tells him it's time to go. There's nothing to see here. So what was Fantomex working on that he needed to protect? Well, the world has the technology to create super soldiers and clone individuals. And deep down inside, Fantomex is raising his own clone of an individual. Someone named Insabadne. Or you may know him by his more common name, Apocalypse. Now, a lot of you guys have been asking if we're going to do the full Uncanny X-Force storyline, and that is the plan right now. It's going to be coming out every Saturday unless there's a hiccup like my vacation that's coming up real soon. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and don't forget to go check out our manga channel, Comicstorian, where you can get manga every Monday and Friday. Can I say manga one more time? Yeah, one more time I can say manga. Comicstorian! And don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Comicstorian and Instagram at Comicstorian. I appreciate everything you guys do for us, from subscriptions to likes on this video to follow me on Twitter, and thank you all. Until next time, I'm Benny.